This month's game was sent in to me by Andres of ANS Trading. Do you have any bulk games, consoles, or accessories you're looking to sell off? ANS is buying. Check the link in the description below. Mario. Arguably the most well-known video game character of all time. Made famous for his 2D and 3D platforming action-adventure games, Mario has been known to jump to other genres, like sports games, racing games, and even puzzle games. But before Mario was known as the jack-of-all-trades we know and love today, he was mostly just featured in platformers. This could have been partly due to Nintendo being incredibly restrictive of the Mario IP. Back in the day, if it was a Mario game, you knew well it was made and published by Nintendo, albeit some cameos and a few educational spin-offs. Let's travel back to 1996. Yes, this is the same year we got arguably the best Mario game of all time, Super Mario 64, but we're not here to talk about that. Not only was 1996 the first time Mario was reimagined in 3D, but it was also one of the first times Nintendo would ever allow an outside development team to work on a game featuring the famous mustached Guido. In March of 1996, we finally got one of the first Mario games developed by an outside development team that was of Nintendo's high quality standard. Of course, I'm talking about Super Mario RPG, the role-playing game developed by RPG juggernaut Square. Growing up, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door and Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga were two of my all-time favorites. Both games interpreted Mario in a role-playing environment. However, Super Mario RPG was the first to start this trend.
Woohoo! Let's go!
The game begins with Princess Peach getting kidnapped by Bowser. Admittedly a stale concept, Square mixed it up a bit by having the beginning of the game almost feel like the ending of another. This is an idea that Nintendo would later reuse for Super Mario Odyssey. After defeating Bowser and attempting to rescue the princess, a giant sword flies down from the sky, thrashing into Bowser's castle. From here, it's up to Mario to save the day. Throughout his first role-playing adventure, Mario traverses some wacky worlds, interacting with some colorful characters, and completing tasks for said characters with an ultimate goal to collect the star pieces scattered around the land. Along the way, Mario will face some opponents unlike any he's fought before. For 1996. These range from your typical Mario enemies like Goombas, Koopas, Shy Guys, blah blah blah, to truly unique characters that Nintendo really needs to bring back. Work out a deal with Square Enix or something, Nintendo. Surely you can work something out. Gino, we're looking at you! As with a lot of RPGs of the era, the game features a party system, in which Mario is accompanied by some exceptional characters, like Mallow, the big puffy thing that thinks he's a tadpole. Spoiler alert, he's not. I mean, look at him, he's clearly made of cotton candy or drugs. There's also the aforementioned Gino, the spirit in a doll's body. Super weird, right? Especially for a Mario game. One of the things I absolutely love about Super Mario RPG is that it's really packed to the brim with a ton of dynamic characters. Take Boshi, a too cool for school Yoshi with sunglasses. I've got 3 words for that.
Hell yeah, Batman!
Later down the road, Mario is accompanied by a few familiar faces. Princess Peach, who sneaks out her window after being rescued to help fight, and Bowser, who's left defenseless and alone after his castle was seized from his possession. Again, this trope has been done a number of times since, but back then, this was definitely something new. Seeing Mario and Bowser work together was, and still sort of is, kinda strange. Super Mario RPG does a great job giving these familiar characters so much life and personality. Another thing I really enjoyed about the game is its Easter eggs and subtle nods to other Nintendo IP. There are 3 ships on the top shelf in Hinomart. One resembles Star Fox Arwing, one F-Zero's Blue Falcon, and one possibly Metroid's Gunship? Speaking of Metroid, there's a little Samus doll in Booster's Tower, as well as a sleeping Samus in the guest bedroom of the castle in the Mushroom Kingdom. There's a few other Easter eggs as well, but I'll leave those for you to discover. Of course, Super Mario RPG isn't perfect. For example, the area where you meet Boshi, Yoster Isle, home of the Mushroom Derby. F that derby. I had to have tried about a dozen times before finally looking up how to win the race online. and even then it still took me countless more tries until I finally won it by the skin of my teeth. This leads me to one of my biggest issues with the game: the minigames. I get that they were added as a little break between the action, but they honestly just annoy me. Most of them only show up once or twice and are over before you truly know what the you were even supposed to do. Again, I appreciate the concept, however they really weren't all that fun. The other thing that infuriated me was the isometric 3D platforming sections. A lot of the time I felt like I was aimlessly jumping around only to land my respective jump out of pure luck. It's kind of a shame if you think about it. I mean, Mario is known for platforming. I guess that's why Square is known for making role-playing games and not platformers.
Oh, mamma mia!
Getting back to the main gameplay, the actual battles play very similarly to Mario's other role-playing adventures. It's a relatively simple turn-based role-playing game with basic attacks, special attacks, defensive moves, and an array of items to use. Sometimes role-playing games do a really bad job incentivizing the grind to level up. However, the vast variety of enemies, each bearing their own diverse attacks, really help Super Mario RPG tremendously. There are even certain sections of the game that mix up the battle system in small ways, that help the game continue to feel fresh throughout. In all honesty, the battle system is a lot of fun and didn't make me dread going into them at all in the 20 hours it took me to finish the game. Speaking of the ending, it's pretty dope. I won't go any further as to not spoil it for those who have never played the game before, but it's pretty fun and I highly recommend playing the game through to the end. So nearly 23 years later, I do think Super Mario RPG holds up pretty well, and I do recommend playing it for anybody interested in the role-playing genre as well as just a Mario fan. I know Super Mario RPG can get pretty expensive to buy, costing upwards of $60 to $70 for just a cartridge. However, it's also available as one of the 21 games in the Super Nintendo Classic Edition. Again, I'd like to give a huge shout out to my lovely sponsor, A&S Trading. Check out the link in the description below. So that's about all the time I have for today. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. There's future videos coming down the pipeline, so stick around for some more Franktastic content. Yeah, that was kind of lame, but oh well. No regrets.